hot, bold, sweet, smooth, and always flavorful. Welcome to my morning coffee. 3 generations of successful women, brewed with black girl magic and French press with class, sass, and style. Gia, Tonya, and Sarita are my morning coffee.
Hi, ladies.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning cup of coffee with you amazing people, where the conversation is always hot, bold, and full of flavor. And today promises not to disappoint as we have the amazing Shawna Landon in the house with us this morning. This should be a good one. So I hope you have your cup. Let's go ahead and get right into it. And we'll start with our guest. Ms. Shawna, what's in your cup? What have you been up to? How's COVID treating you?
Well, in my cup, I wish there was something more, but it's just water.
Oh.
I didn't even have time to get coffee.
So did you do water? So you just needed to cleanse, or are you trying to keep your skin clear?
Yes, a little bit of water to cleanse and begin my Monday, yes.
All right. How is COVID treating you? How's work? How are the people around you?
We're, for the most part, I feel like we're holding up pretty well. We have our good days and bad days. I feel like everybody else. So I'm a single mom. I work 2 jobs. I work for the Redondo Beach Police Foundation part-time, and I'm also a realtor at Douglas Elliman in Malibu, in Manhattan Beach today. So it's, I think right now we just take it day by day, because I feel everything changes day by day. Like the rules, the situation, the family life, I just feel like every day changes. So you kind of have to go with the flow in order to keep your sanity, I guess.
Or just put something different in your cup.
Or yes, or do that if I could, yes. But it is only 10:08 a.m., so I don't know.
It's happy hour somewhere.
I know.
If I remember correctly, you were recently on a reality real estate TV show.
Yes, well, my brother Sean was. Unfortunately, I was on the cutting room floor, so to speak. You didn't even see the back of my head, I don't think. But yes, it's a show called $1 Million Listing. So we have quite a few agents that are on that show from DE. So the property that we saw, it's in Malibu. It's a portfolio of 500 million total. So it's big. Yeah, it's huge. And right now, especially, it's a very hard sell, clearly, because these homes are ranging from 75 to 100 million a piece. And there's 5 homes total. So
Everyone got a little more silent, was like, oh, let's just take that in.
Yeah, right. So I feel it's a very specific person that's going to buy this home or these homes. There's 5 of them, but maybe someone not from this country. I don't know. It's super expensive, and we're in COVID, and
right. There's a lot of factors.
There's a lot of factors, and it's even though the market is doing well, to be honest, it really is. Like, people are either wanting to move to a bigger home because of COVID, like they need more space, and they don't want to like be on top of each other.
Yeah.
Where people are wanting to lease and maybe like leave and get away for a little bit. So the market itself is stable. It's actually doing okay.
That's good to hear.
I'm surprised, yeah.
How has the restrictions, or at least the safety measures, kind of fluctuated with real estate and showing homes and selling homes?
Okay, so you can't not perform open houses. So legally, you can show a property, obviously with the social distancing. You can show, it's one agent. The two people you're showing the home to have to live in the same residence, so they have to be a partner and only two max. You have to wear masks. It's a protocol. You have to sign a PED form. Because you do have people going in and out of your home. Like, let's say it was my home. If there's several people coming in and out, you want to make sure that they're healthy, that they're abiding by the masks, and you're keeping social distancing and all that. So there's a lot of like measures that go into it, and laws, and which is they're protecting, their clients.
And even with that, the market is still doing pretty well. You guys are staying busy.
It is. It's pretty stable. Yeah.
And well, Miss Gia, what's in your cup? How have things been with you?
I have coffee in my cup.
She looks disappointed.
It's early, but I over the weekend I did have other things in my cup, so it's good that I had coffee. Yeah. I had a few cocktails this past weekend, which was lovely, because I haven't had cocktails in a while, so that was good. Let's see what I've been up to. Well, let's see. The latest and the greatest with me. I have a partial torn tendon in my ankle, so now I have to wear a boot. So I have a boot on my foot, so that's not very attractive. So I'm dealing with that.
Have you jazzed it up yet? Have you put some type of something on it to
could
make it fashionable?
Well, it's funny you say that, Sarita. Not yet. A lot of people, because I posted my foot, and so I got a lot of comments that I just need to go on and bling it out. They can't wait to see how I bling it out and all that. So I'm thinking about maybe I might bling it. I'm not sure. Just depends on how long I'm going to have to be in it. I have to go and have another x-ray of my foot, a weight-bearing x-ray now done on my foot. So I might do that today. Not sure. If not today, I'll do it this week. And then besides that, I'm still working. Thank God. I haven't officially retired yet, but in my mind, I have. Every day I go to work, in my mind, I'm retired, and stuff. So, that's all. I did an event yesterday. I did the Hollywood Artisan Market again. I vendored there. So that's, I'm trying to do that every other week, every other Sunday from 11 to 4 on Cahuenga, just north of Hollywood Boulevard. That's where the location is. So for the people out there who follow us or follow me, come out and see me sometime. Every other Sunday I'm there. Eventually I'll probably be there every Sunday, but right now I'm just doing every other Sunday. And I have a lot of great things there. I've been making some new things, made some new masks, and I also made some new beverage
Love the beverage
covers. So I'm working on that. Look out for those. That's coming up.
For a housewarming gift, because they're absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, well, you know how to find me, Sarita, and I'm going to be doing a variety of things. Actually, I'm going to probably, I want to do some painted ones. So I want to, because I like to paint. So I'm going to probably come out with a splattered painted line of beverage covers and stuff. So I'm just working on a few different things. So when I do retire, I won't just sit on the couch and eat bonbons and put on retirement weight. I plan to still be doing some kind of work, just not what I've done for the past 30 years.
Law enforcement. Speaking of law enforcement, last night, you want to tell them about last night?
Oh, well, last night, Miss Tonya, Sand Insurance, had a part 2 of the blue, I think it was called Blue and Black, because we're all members of Phi Beta Sigma or Zeta Phi Beta. So, and we're all law enforcement officers, and we all happen to be Black. So, so it's really about us, the African American people in law enforcement and how they feel about what's been going on with the BLM, the George Floyd, and all the other people who have died at the hands of police officers. And was just really getting a perspective from our perspective, because I think with all this stuff going on, nobody stops, nobody's really stopping and talking and getting a perspective from the officers and the minority officers at that. So we try to give an insight on what's it like for us. Everybody's experience in law enforcement is different. I've been on for 30 years. Another guy, Rob, has been on 25 years, and I can't remember everybody else's time, but I think me and Rob are probably I know I'm the senior of the group. I seem to be the senior in all these damn groups that we're in. I don't understand, but it's all good. So
you're the wise counsel of every group.
Yeah. So just getting our perspective. And again, I think people don't think about it. We all have a different perspective in law enforcement. We all are different. We all are doing the same job, but we do it in our own way, and things affect us all differently. Just like, I'm a female in a uniform. My experience in uniform is different from a male in uniform. And that's stuff that people don't talk about either, that probably needs to be talked about more. We police differently. We do things differently. But at the end of the day, we're all, trying to do the same thing. So it was a good experience. It was good. We had fun talking. I love Rob, because Rob is, him and I are probably alike a lot of ways. We're straight shooters, we ain't sugarcoating nothing. And he didn't sugarcoat nothing last night. He had us cracking up about his take on a lot of things. So that was interesting. Tonya's always getting us to tap into the sides of us that we don't really tap into every day. Well, at least with me, she's always getting me to do stuff. I don't know how she tricks me into this stuff, but somehow she sucks me in. So she's good at that. So, and she's probably the only person I know that can suck me in, because I'm really like, no, I'm not doing it. No, it ain't happening. No, but Tonya would send me a text or call me about something else. And I know what she's doing now. I'm on to her, stuff. And then all of a sudden she'll slide something in, and I find myself saying yes. Hence, that's how we got this podcast, so.
I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah, so yeah.
Oh, Shawna, don't you dare.
But I appreciate her for that, because she has me outside of my box. So I have to give her kudos for that. And I'm sure people who know me are probably giving her kudos too, because they know Gigi be like, no, we're not, I'm not, and don't ask me about it no more.
I'm not, nope, don't do it. Yeah, you are, and I'll be there, and we'll be there. So with that, I did want to say, Rob was funny. We got some interesting comments last night, and it seemed like you guys were even a little more loose than the first time.
Yeah, I think we were after the first time. The first time you're always you don't know how people are going to take, receive you and stuff like that. But after that, we're kind of like, I think with a lot of us, and maybe with me, is because here we are in month 4 of COVID, and and then I'm looking at, I'm about to retire, so I'm like, look, here, I'm going to give it to y'all. For all y'all who didn't know what I did, this is what I do. This is what I've been doing for 30 years, and it ain't been pretty sometime. But hey, I'm here. I'm still here with the grace of God, and that's the most important thing, because that's the thing with law enforcement. Every day we want to come home, and every day that we go out there, there's a chance that we don't come home. So for me to be doing this for 30 years, and a lot of my friends too, who have since retired, they've done an excellent job in protecting and serving their communities and stuff. So that's a blessing.
Before I move on real quick, how many of those people did you actually know before we started this conversation? Because it almost felt like family yesterday, right?
Well, prior to us first doing it, the only person I knew was Kendra, and I didn't know her. I just knew, I know she's a Zeta. I've seen her, and I even, maybe somebody told me a long time ago that she was in law enforcement, but I was like, when I saw her on the panel, I was like, oh, did I remember that and stuff? So but as far as the guys, I didn't know any of those guys that were on the panel prior to this. But now you're right. We feel like family now. We can call each other up and be like, look, what happened today at work with you? That kind of thing and stuff. So it was fun,
So Rob already texted me talking about when's round 3. So we're gonna.
Rob is ready. He's ready.
Guns blazing. He's ready. Absolutely. So what's up, Sarita? What's in your cup? What you been up to?
Today I have green tea in my cup. And from the nature of my voice, my allergies have been kicking my butt. So that's always exciting and fun. That was kind of my weekend. I'm helping just move the label in a different direction. So that's been taking up a lot of my time, which is great. I am also, like Gia, an essential worker for LVRN. And I had to give up a day that I cherish, one of my days off, to accommodate, and I'm still not able to accommodate everyone. So we're gonna have to figure out some things, but it's good. I have, speaking of, moving along, Gia is her initiative of supporting other women businesses and helping women support other women. So I have this shirt on for the things that I wish was in my cup. And I don't know if you guys could see, but it's like Merlot, Zinfandel. I think there's a Sauvignon, there's a Bordeaux. So my Aunt Sharon, she goes by Peach. She made this shirt a long time ago, but I was getting dressed this morning and I was looking in I decided to dig to the back of my drawer because I'm getting so accustomed, especially because Rona has made the decision to take all of our cuteness away. Not you, Gia. You still out here in these streets, doing
her thing
and being cute. But I have resigned myself to Bali and yoga pants and t-shirts. So that has become, that's always been my attire, but it's really my attire right now. So I was like, maybe we can do a different shirt besides the shirt that keeps making its way around all the damn time. So I picked the shirt, my wine shirt. So hopefully at some point today, I'll be able to get some wine.
Well, Sarita, I dig in the back of my drawer too, because I recently moved. So I was like, oh shoot, the podcast is today, so I got to find something. So I was in the back. You really can't see it, but it's a little green shirt that's been in the back of my drawer probably for let's say 3 or so years. So
and that's another thing, also because of Rona, I am making the decision to do the second round of purging. So I want to get rid of just clothes and things that I have that I don't wear, just to start to open up for new things, especially because today is a full moon. So really setting everyone's attention. If you have crystals that, sit on your altar or sit in your house, this is a great time to clean them and wash them and let them charge under the new full moon. So if anyone has any thoughts or questions about that, you can always ask me. But so I'm really making a concerted effort to cleanse and usher out things that are,
Well, can I interject real quick? So I hear, actually there was a book written. So this woman wrote it, and of course I forgot the author. But basically what she said is, if you look at something, whether it be in your closet, in your home, anything, if it doesn't bring you happiness, or if it doesn't mean anything to you, get rid of it.
Yeah.
And
was that the tidy lady?
Yes.
The Komodo, which?
Yes. So I think it was more for in your closet with clothes, and like if people have excessive amount of stuff, it's just stuff.
Yep.
Basically. So if you look at it and it brings you no happiness, it has no meaning, throw it away. Almost like people.
Okay. I see where Shawna's going with this. All right. Just take it off.
You have someone in mind?
Right. No. Do you want to tell them here on My Morning Coffee? It's an exclusive right now.
It might be like a list. So.
You're out of here.
Unfriended, blocked. I love it. Well, let's get into a little more about you, Miss Shawna. Oh yeah, what have I been up to? Working on a project with Miss Shawna to come up with for our youth in the South Bay with the Redondo Beach Police Foundation. So with that, I want to go ahead and throw it your way and kind of talk about your work with the foundation and how things are going with that and your thoughts behind the foundation work.
Yes. So, so Tonya and I are trying to work on almost like a youth group / summit. I feel personally, because I'm a single mom of 3 kids and they're young, their ages range from 8 to 22. I feel a lot of times we kind of forget about our youth. We kind of forget that they maybe want to have a voice and they are confused and they don't know exactly what's going on, and maybe their information that they're getting, especially right now, isn't the best way to get it, whether it be social media, TikTok. I feel that especially with the youth, they want to get together and they want to talk and not have it always through texting, social media. This is our way of life now. There's benefits and there's also a lot of negatives, I feel. Especially I see it with my daughter who's 13. She is very strong-willed. She's 13 going on 30. And I feel her whole life right now is consumed with adult stuff and not so much her age. And I feel she's wanting to have that voice, as she should, as any child should, or a teenager. I'm specifically talking more about the youth because this is our future. So if we don't allow them to have a voice now in a positive way, I feel later on, it will be detrimental. I feel it does something to their psyche. I can see it in a lot of her friends and my kids. They butt heads, they're fighting. And I would just like to be able to form a common ground for these kids where they do feel heard, because that's the most important. I know for me as an adult, all I want to do is feel heard. Whether you agree with me or not, I want to be heard.
Heard, seen, and loved. Those
Yeah.
are all 3.
Heard, seen, exactly. Mm-hmm. And you may not agree with me. Gia may not agree. Whoever, Tonya may not agree with me, but if I feel like you heard me and you're like, okay, Shawna, yeah, you know what? I heard you. I might not agree with you, but I certainly heard you, and vice versa. It's huge. And people don't realize that. We can have different opinions. I mean, it's a full spectrum, but the bottom line is respect and feel heard. And I feel especially now kids need that, because what we're going through right now, every day I feel like to be honest, like I'm in the twilight zone. Like I feel between COVID, racism, everything that we're going through, now there's fires. The world is changing. And I feel like we need to change with the world, with our children. And I feel a lot of times we forget about them and they're on the back burner, and they honestly should be in the front, because these are the kids that are going to carry us through our future.
Shawna, can we talk a little bit more about, I believe you're the president of the Redondo Beach Police Protective League or something like that?
Oh no, I wish I was. So no, what I do is it's Talene Kagan and I. So I'm in charge of outreach efforts, and
okay.
So it's just Talene and I that run the foundation right now.
Oh, so I'm sorry. So it's the Redondo Beach Police Foundation.
Yes.
Okay.
We do have members, and we're currently trying to get more board members on board, which I feel we're going to make that happen, and really good ones. I feel we need more women on our board.
Can you tell the people, what does the foundation do in a city like Redondo Beach PD? Because I think a lot of people don't know about police foundations and how they can be of service to the community and the police departments.
Yeah. So basically, we raise funds for what the department can afford. So we, let's say, for instance, we had trauma kits. And obviously, we're the resource in order to raise funds, in order to get those trauma kits out to public schools. We even, mosques, whatever it is. I mean, unfortunately, we're living in a world right now where there's active shooting. And so before this, there were first aid kits in public schools and Band-Aids, Neosporin, and we have these trauma kits now that are amazing, that God forbid there's an active shooter that comes in. These trauma kits allows them to provide all the stuff that they need until help comes in, which we never had before.
Okay, so for example, so you work closely with the police department. You guys raise funds to provide these trauma kits to the local schools and other places that need them in your community on behalf of the police department.
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay.
But even go outside. It's not even to, I mean, like I said, it's to anyone. Yes, it's in Redondo, but we are trying to reach outside of Redondo. We're not trying to just stay in our bubble. Like, our thoughts are whoever we can help, like, we're going to do it. We're raising funds to do that. So
for instance, the MLK event that our police engagement is on, right? What would be the role for the foundation in a project like that?
So we provided the bench that now sits in front of the station, which is a beautiful bench. We had patches, we sold patches, MLK patches that evening. That was like my first event, by the way. So I just started in August of last year, but I've been volunteering for years now. And that was like my first event by myself, and it was an amazing event. So
I have a question, Shawna, about that. What actually encouraged you to start this process and this journey of volunteering and sorry that it's morning time and street sweeping and things, but like, what got you into this? Because just hearing you speak about whether it's your children and their friends, and that there's a real passion that this comes from. So can you tell our viewers just how you started on this journey and what inspired you?
Yes, I would have to say it came from my dad. Mind you, my mom was a beautiful young lady. I loved her. She passed away 5 years ago. My dad passed away when I was 18, 1991, of pancreatic cancer. He was an actor, Michael Landon, and he gave of himself all the time. It would come, it doesn't matter, it would be from kids dying of cancer, I mean, anything he could, he would give of himself. And I feel growing up with that, it rubbed off on me. And yeah, I feel if we're here in this world, this is what we should be doing, is helping others. Regardless, even if I didn't have kids, I would still want to help. Like, I feel like it's in my nature. Not everyone has that, and you can't force it, but he definitely was the catalyst for me, like growing up, seeing how much he gave, was a huge part of my childhood.
You said he had won an NAACP award. Tell me about that.
So Bonanza, believe it or not, was the first color television. It was black and white. Yes, and Bonanza was the first color television, and he played Little Joe on Bonanza. So they would go off when they weren't filming. They would go and travel and actually put on these performances and sing. He had a voice. I certainly didn't get it, but he did. And they were, I can't remember, I feel like it was Virginia. I'm pretty sure. So they were all set up to do this live concert. So it would be Lauren Green, my dad, everybody on Bonanza, Pernell Roberts, and they get on stage, they do their little shtick and they sing. But before that, they told them, you know, it's going to be segregated, like blacks on one side, whites on the other. And my dad specifically said, well, if that happens, guys, we're not doing the show. They're battling back and forth. Long story short, what happened?
They integrated?
They didn't do the show.
Oh, dang, I had such high hopes for the white people of that time. Oh. I thought they were going to come through in the clutch.
They didn't do it.
Nope.
So my dad said, adios, we're leaving.
Wow.
And he got, yeah. So a few months later, yeah, he got, or I don't know if it was a few months, but yeah, he got an award for for.
And this was in Virginia?
Right. Yes, I believe it was Virginia. I would have to look back and ask my stepmom, because my mom would have known, but she passed. But yes, I know my stepmom still has the award. So yeah.
Wow.
And no, then if you guys aren't gonna, bye-bye. And
I was really rooting for the Virginia. I thought that they were gonna do the right thing.
Now, don't quote me on,
or wherever it was, whatever part of the South.
Yes. Look, Sarita, it was one of them places, one of them states.
Right, one of the places in the South that still have a hard time getting it together.
Right? Yeah.
They're still having a hard time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this makes it even more clear why your passion for the youth is where it is, because you saw your father raised the next generation, which is you, of activists and of people that are doing the right thing. And so you're just falling in line with what you saw your father do. What a beautiful legacy.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like he was like my role model, and I think he was a role model for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't a perfect person. He had his faults, and you know, sometimes he wasn't the best dad, but we're not always best parents. We do what we can, you know, for our children. We do the best we can. And then there was a real, actually right now, Little House is being watched more now than ever, because I feel people
want to go back to those old values,
are craving those social and moral and family values. And there's actually an episode with Jeff Bridges, and he blatantly, my dad wrote this episode, he blatantly asked my dad, would you rather, he asked him, don't you want to live a long life? And my dad said, yes, the longest I possibly can. And he said, would you rather live your life as a white man for 50 years or a black man for 100 years? And my dad couldn't answer that question.
Whoa.
And that was one of the episodes that was super poignant, but my dad was trying to get that across. And he couldn't answer. That was the question. And he specifically did not answer and walked out of the room. Yeah.
Yikes.
That was a moment.
So it's a moment.
It's a moment. 40 years later.
It's a moment, but it's a truth. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
But it's very, that's one thing my dad was a very honest man with emotions, with people, with what he felt.
Wow.
And so how do you take some of that or all of that into your being now?
I feel like, yeah, like I remember one of the first podcasts that you guys did. I remember I was a little confused because I know, like,
We do that a lot.
so I know, like, you're not supposed to see. Okay, so we're taught, or in my generation, okay, not to give my age up, but so not to see color, right? But you're supposed to see color, correct?
Mm.
So there is where, like, I was confused because my dad, that's what his value was like, everybody's the same, everyone bleeds the same, and we're all the same. So I know now it's different, and I know we're maybe you guys can explain that more to me so that I can explain it more to my children, because my children are taught the same thing. So maybe I can hand it over to one of you. Like, what do you guys feel like, just speaking like to our children? Because it's hard, like, it's especially in their young minds. They're fragile. They don't know what's going on. Unfortunately, I can't believe we're still talking about this, to be honest with you. I feel it's kind of crazy. We're in 2020 and we're still having to have these discussions.
I'm more than happy to take it from a mental health perspective, but I think, Tonya, because you have kids, and you were speaking, Shawna, directly to, like, how do you explain it to kids? I mean, I know what I say to kids, but I probably would get my license snatched away if I speak on what I say to kids. So maybe I'm not the best representative.
You're about to respond, Gia. Go ahead.
Well, only thing I was going to say is I think America needs to have a conversation really about, when you say you don't see color, what that means to each individual, because I believe that means it can mean a lot of different things. When I hear that phrase a lot, I don't see color and things like that. And literally, yeah, we get what people, when they say I don't see color, and you might not see color, you, Shawna, but your girlfriends and everybody else, they maybe do see color, and that's where it kind of, it gets kind of confusing. And for a child, you're raising your kids not to see color. And let's take your 13-year-old daughter. She doesn't see color probably. She sees everybody the same, but you don't know that all her other friends are being taught that in their home. So now you'll say your daughter has a black friend, okay? And your daughter sees her as she's just my friend. She doesn't see color, right? But all her other friends might not look at her black friend that way. They're looking at her as different. Oh, she's black because her color of her skin is different from the color of her skin. It starts sometime there. And then a lot of this stuff really starts in the home. It's what people are being taught in their home, how they're teaching their kids, and the prejudices that they have, they're passing them on to their kids. And so then that's why you have all this, all these different people treating people differently based on that, So that's a whole other conversation that can be had about that term. You're not supposed to see color. I don't see color.
I think also when I speak on it, particularly with law enforcement, I think I was even talking to Chief.
Yeah, it was Chief.
That you do see color. Sometimes, when we say that, we really mean we want you to see us. We want you to see our humanity. We want you to see our struggle. We want you to see how we are affected by the things that take place around us, right? So we're not inhumane. And sometimes when people say we don't see color, they strip us of our humanity, because our color is a part of us. Our color is a part of our struggle. Our color is a part of who we have become. Our color is a part of our heritage. For me in particular, my family is from Mississippi, so my great-great-grandparents were picking cotton, they were slaves. So you can't say you don't see color because you're saying you don't see what has made me who I am. But at the same time, what Gia is saying, everybody's not raised the same. So your I don't see color is totally different than someone else's I don't see color, right? I treat everybody the same. If you're a jerk no matter what color you are, right? I'm gonna treat you, you're on my list, you're on my shit list no matter what color you are. And if you're nice and you're good to me, then you know, we're all good. But some people don't feel that way. I had a great conversation with a lady yesterday, Susie Miller, shout out to her for being so honest in regards to how you're raised. You know, you can be raised in a home that says we don't see color. At the same time, if you bring home a Black boyfriend, your parents are going to react a certain kind of way. And then you live your life based on how your parentals treat you and those other people of color. They say they don't see color, but they act a certain way. So you can always say, I don't see color, but then your behavior is something else, right?
Right.
Those are things that need to be acknowledged when people are saying, oh, I don't see color. Oh, you don't? Because when you saw that boy walking down the street and you crossed over, you saw it then, right?
And it's even implicit bias. I think that's also a part of this.
Right. And even in law enforcement, Tonya, you know, people say we do see color. I worked the field. I patrolled for many years in the area and stuff, and I patrolled in the mixed area. So, and for me to say, oh, I didn't see color, no. When I was in the not so affluent Torrance area that my station patrolled, okay, there were white people that I saw that was on meth, okay, and in my mind, oh, okay, I saw that. That's a white guy, white girl. She's a meth head. You see what I'm saying? So I saw color, okay. Yep. It wasn't like, you know, but I didn't treat her no different than, or him no different than somebody who wasn't white or even Black. When you're a criminal, you're a criminal. If you're a suspect, I'm treating all suspects the same. I'm not treating you, oh, because you're Black, oh, I'm gonna rough you up a little more. No, that's not how I operated when I was in patrol. It's a crime, it's a crime. I don't care what color you are. If you're the suspect, you're going to jail. I didn't say, oh, you know what? Oh, she a white girl, she on meth, I'm not gonna take her to jail today. And then I go over to the Black community and I see a girl that's high on some drugs, and I say, oh, she's a Black girl, I'm taking her to jail because she's Black. No, I took her to jail because they both were under the influence of a drug, you know, no matter what color they are. But we do see, you know, so for people say I don't see color, you know, I find it hard to believe because we do, you know, and everything, you know, and some people are treated differently because the color of their skin. And that's the issue that I think a lot of us as Black people, well, not a lot of us, all of us, that's what we're tired of, you know, how we get treated differently because our skin tone is different from, you know, other people's skin tone.
Okay. It's almost a disingenuous statement.
A backhanded compliment.
And it's okay to see color. That's the whole thing. See, I want you to see my beautiful caramel. It's kind of shiny right now, Shawna skin. I want you to see that, okay? And see me for the beautiful person that I am, you know, and stuff, you know. So, yeah.
Or Shawna.
No. I would love to hear.
Up, let me just say this because you started that part. Growing up, when you said a backhanded comment, oh, you're pretty for a Black girl.
Yeah, so my friend used to get this all the time. Oh, you're pretty, because one of my best friends, Kim, she's like, oh, you're pretty because of your skin color. Or you're pretty because, yes. I get like that, yes, I get that. And it's offensive. You should be beautiful for who you are as a person. Doesn't matter. But what I want to say is, like, I'm kind of playing the devil's advocate a little bit.
Please do.
Okay, so as a white woman, right?
No, Shawna. Who?
Well,
who? Girl, wait a minute. Girl, wait a minute. You a white girl? You a white girl, Shawna? Who knew?
What I'm saying is, like, sometimes I feel like I know it's gonna sound weird. Like, sometimes I feel guilty because if, let's say, I'm around like either it's women or men, friends, not friends, like I feel I'm being judged sometimes. because I feel like like my friends who are Black, or they have friends, they look at me and I feel, and I'm not saying I'm right, but I feel like maybe they're thinking, oh, here she's a privileged white woman, and I guarantee you she's prejudiced, and she's, do you know what I mean? Like, am I saying, I'm trying
Yeah,
to,
I get what you're saying. You
like,
feel as though your Black friends are looking at you, or
yes,
Black people that are around.
He's a representative for all white people.
Yes, and I feel uncomfortable. Like, I feel like, oh, they're looking at, I feel like, okay, are they looking at me like I'm this person that I'm not? Do you know what I mean?
That's Shawna, you see how you feel? We feel the same way. We feel that way when we're in a room with a bunch of white people and we're the only person. We feel the same way how you feel.
Yeah.
We feel that too.
Yeah, and it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling.
And that's why I think that's why many people choose to interact with people that are like them, because it can be so uncomfortable, and having to sort through those feelings emotionally and mentally while all you're trying to do is have a glass of wine is too much for people to bear sometimes. It's like, I just want to I don't want to think about that. So I think for many of us, that's the reason why we stay with people that look like us, because it's much easier. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to explain. You don't have to, look at someone and think automatically because of their aesthetic that they're one thing versus another. And I think that it is about privilege. I think the reason that I say we don't see color to a Black person feels like a backhanded compliment, at least for me, is because I don't get to move through the world in the same way. When I'm in the world, I have to be of the world as a woman of color and being viewed as such. I don't get to say, it's just like I don't get to, there's a certain privilege that men have that we as women don't get to have. We don't get to walk down the street, without having our antennas up regarding if people are looking a bit suspicious, or if there's a white van that is at the corner, or walking at night with our dogs. As women, we don't have the privilege of saying, if something happens, or we don't walk through the world without thinking that something happens. We think about the things that we wear. We think about the people that we go out with all the time, because we are in a culture where there have been predators against women. Mm-hmm. And it's the same as having predators against people of color, and Black people in particular. When you have that amount of trauma over and over and over again, there is a fear that you walk through and it's a fear, it's a necessary fear because it keeps us safe. But when you get to say you don't see color, that's because you haven't had to walk through the world with that same fear.
No, and I get that. Like, my brother's gay, and I can't, like, everyone, you have people saying, oh, well, clearly it's a choice. No, it's who he is. Like, this is him. And I'm gonna get emotional, like, probably the best person I've ever known, and he's not had it easy.
People from marginalized communities walk with fear, and we all have a certain level of privilege depending on what space you're occupying in that moment. So that emotion, that humanity that you have towards your brother is the same level of humanity and love that we as Black people want everyone to see us with. That same level of humanity, that same level of love. And we don't always get that because we're human.
We're all human beings.
Yeah.
In this world.
How is your daughter? You said, your daughter, her best friend is Black. How is she? And this is your younger daughter.
Yeah, so this is
how is she dealing with everything?
She's 13. She is a very much how do I explain it? she protects her best friend like no other, like to a point where I feel, and I don't want this to come across wrong, not that it's a detriment, but I feel it consumes her. Like she is now,
She's not able to be a kid.
I want her to be a kid, and I feel like she's so, and this is why I feel like this youth group and this summit that Tonya and I want to do is so important for kids, because you still want kids to be kids, right? And you don't want them to be also consumed with all this, I shouldn't say stuff. No, I shouldn't say it, because it's important. And it's going to be their future. But I also feel like there has to be a balance. And again, it all comes down, I feel like, to productive communication, having a voice, especially when you're 13 and you're like going through hormones and whatever, like, and especially during this time, and people are so opinionated, and then you have parents and you have all these like everybody in your ear, like you need, I just feel like they need to be heard, but again, like be heard, but in a constructive way, and have a conversation like we're doing. This is the best way, like to be able to sit and like have conversations and talk about it, but without like the hate and the like, oh, because you think this way, you know what I'm saying? Like it's constructive conversation. We're all human beings. We're not always going to agree. We're not always going to be the same.
But we have to also be willing to be uncomfortable.
Yes. And we also have to be truthful and upfront and honest with ourselves, even, number one, and then with our children.
Hey, Shawna, how's it, this is funny. How's it being like a tree hugger doing work for the police department? Because, you know,
a tree hugger, I love that.
Don't worry. I went to school in the Bay, so I'm the unsalted sunflower seeds and Birkenstocks.
Okay.
So you have a sister in there.
Can I tell you, I would never, no, I shouldn't say that. Like when I first like started volunteering a couple years ago for the police department, for the foundation, I actually was like, oh my God, these guys are amazing. These guys are good guys and women. Like they're down to earth. I just like them as people. I did. I liked what they were doing. I liked the fact that they really do like help and want to help their community. It's not all talk. I feel like they actually do go out and do things. Like I feel like, and I've been on this board, by the way, of other foundations across the states. There's Vegas, there's New York, there's Wichita. Once a month, I'm on these calls with all these other foundations, police foundations, and most of them are shut down. They're getting death threats, they're shut down. But I also feel, and when I was on a call this one time, this woman, she's kind of like an analysis of different foundations. Like she'll go on and look at your Facebook page, your social media, your website. And she even called out, excuse me, our department, saying she felt ours, out of all of the ones she looked at, which was, I don't know, maybe about 30 of them, was the most genuine. It wasn't just to put fluff out there. It was, and I feel that's what Redondo is. I feel they truly, and I wouldn't be involved, I feel they truly want to make a difference. And I truly feel like community is first for them. And even being around them and for years now, I truly believe like they're probably one of the most genuine police departments. And I'm not just saying that. And even hearing all the other ones that I've heard, like they have these websites that they say the right things, right? because they say, oh, this is what I want to hear and see.
Excuse me.
But I don't feel like it's genuine.
Do you feel like your views are heard and respected when you have input on things going on?
In terms of like, be specific, like in terms of
Programming.
yes, I do. Now again, I've only been on the board since August, but when I do bring up like our youth group and that stuff, everybody seems to be very much on board and very excited. I mean, we have board members from Kelly Cheeseman, who's the CEO of the LA Kings. We have Phil Keenan, who is an ex-cop, who's super generous. We have Josh, who's a huge PR marketing guy, great guy. Everyone cares. Like, I really feel like our board members genuinely care about the community and people. The only thing missing is we need more estrogen on this board. So we need more. I'm saying it nicely. You know what I want to say. We need more women. Like, we need more women. And they agree. Like, there has to be a balance. And I feel also, which would be nice, and I wanted to try to do this, is like, especially in the department, obviously we have women in our department. They're the minorities, whether you're black or white, they're women. They're overrun by men. So I feel they need a voice.
So Gia's going to be retiring soon.
I knew it was coming. I knew a lot was happening.
So yes, but Shawna, I need you to find me a house, but not one of them $5 million houses over there in Redondo Beach. Look, I'm poor. I work for the county for 30 years. We ain't got a lot of money. Okay, so I need a nice little modest little something, not too expensive, that I can afford in retirement. You find me a house over there.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm there. I'm there.
I have a question.
I come live with you, Gia.
I have a question to everyone. I know that we're kind of on, in regards to time, but have you guys heard of this CSP that is happening with now LA County? There was an initiative done by UCLA to count or to do a study regarding community like policing, where they're unarmed or they're trained in a certain way, and they started in like the Nickerson Gardens and Jordan Downs, and now they're taking that initiative and they're making it countywide. Has anyone heard anything about this?
I have a little bit about, you mean how they like how they're obtaining people or restraining people? Like,
it's not even it's preventing crime. So it's having officers that are trained in like community policing, so that the first response is called Community Safe Partnership. And it's in an attempt to like get involved. I think it's what Redondo Beach is doing, at least what Chief was speaking about when he was on how to get police officers engaged in the community so that there are fewer violent responses to neighborhoods. And they just took the woman who kind of spearheaded it. I can't remember her name. She's a Black woman who was doing it in the Nickerson Gardens and Jordan Down projects, and has now taken her to be the head liaison to replicate it countywide.
Sarita, I'm not familiar with the initiative, but I did see the segment. They made her, she's going to become a deputy chief. And I believe she did a lot of community policing in the Nickerson Gardens and the Imperial Courts. And, but again, that's LAPD. That's something that I think they're doing. But I don't believe their officers are unarmed. I could be wrong, but I don't know how that, I don't know in any city, whether it's the Nickerson Gardens or if it's Redondo Beach, a law enforcement officer walking around with nothing that seems very really stretched to me, because that's you're a moving target. Now you're a target. They know you have nothing, and
yeah, my apologies.
There's still bad people out there.
Yes.
But I think too, what we know of us who grew up in LA, the Nicholson Gardens and Imperial Courts, I believe what we know of that, I think is changing, and that's just because the demographics of that area is changing. So I know, I believe the Jordan Downs, they redone some of the projects, and they tore them down and did a whole remodel, and they're nice looking. They're different. I'm not going to say they're different looking apartments than what we've known the projects to be, but that's just that community is changing. And I don't know the crime rate in there because I don't work LAPD, but I'm sure it's not as how it was back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s.
The height of
when it was on and popping. I'm sure it's still on and popping, but I don't think it's the way it was back then. So that has a lot to do with the whole community policing. But then they took those areas and said, we're going to saturate it with officers there. And because the way the Nicholson, those projects are, and our projects are constructed, it's easy to do community and policing and walking around because it's almost a little community within a community, so it's just, short streets that they can walk and be about. It's different from doing that in the city like Redondo Beach or a city like Inglewood, where it's a lot bigger, so.
Good point.
And also this is obviously another conversation that we can have later, but obviously there's huge changes that need to be made. Huge changes. I feel too I'm not a police officer, but I also feel like there should be things like, not to categorize it like this, but like, okay, you have your bad cop, right? Your good cop. And then you have the one that is the truthful cop, like not truthful cop, I'm not saying this correctly. The one that, so it's almost kind of like the mafia. Like I feel like.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on, Shawna.
I missed something somewhere. Hold on.
Hold on, Shawna. Hold on.
Like this, and I'm not doing it correctly. Okay,
and nobody can even save you, Shawna. We're like, ooh, we got nothing.
So I think a big part of the problem, right, is you have, let's go down this again. You have your honest cop, right? You have your honest cop, your good cop, and your bad cop. So the bad cops, clearly, we need to get out. Whether they have, like for instance, Derek had, 19 counts before he killed. 19 counts. Why is he in a uniform? Why is he still patrolling? Why is he still working? Okay.
So this is a conversation that we've had with John, and we've talked about unions, but it came up again last night, Miss Gia, for someone that has like 19 offenses and still has a job to do harm to other people. What is that about? Like, was that part of its management? That's
part of the administrative part of law enforcement that happens when we do bad things, investigation wise and stuff. And that's just the higher echelons just not getting rid of this person. It has nothing to do with the unions. The unions can't, all the unions do, like we said yesterday, provide us with representation. They can't tell the job, oh no, you can't fire that person, you can't get rid of that person. They just provide us with an attorney, and that attorney fights for the officer or defends the officer, and that's what they do. So, but the reason why these people are not being fired has nothing to do with the union. It has something to do with the people that are higher up are not doing what they need to do to get rid of these people. And then even if you get rid of them, sometimes all they do is go to another state and get hired on another police department. And, so, it's a cycle, that kind of thing. So I don't, that we might take years before that can get resolved or do better. But you should, if a person has a pattern, this person, you said 19 counts or something. So, that person should be gone, because all they're going to do is create more problems for the city and more lawsuits to the cities that person works in. And that's another reason why, people higher up and even the city council people and stuff like that, they're delving out a lot of money in these lawsuits, especially in California, because we sue for everything. You broke my nail, I'm gonna sue you. And I'm gonna win probably, because that's just, that's just how it is. But yeah, that it has nothing to do with the union. It has something to do with administration.
Well, but what I was trying to come across that I wasn't doing very almost like, I don't know, like I feel like, again, you have the honest, the good, and the bad. Let's just say we're doing 3 categories, right? Maybe because I feel like the good or the good cop, right, can't tell, because I feel like they're a brotherhood, correct? So let's say the good cop sees one of his fellow officers do something shitty or bad, sorry. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse.
You can say shit.
Okay, so shitty, right? And unlawful, wrong. Why can't there be a specific anonymous place where they can go and say, get this guy out, get her out? I'm not being sexist. It even could be a woman. Who knows? Get her out. Like because I feel a lot of times they feel, because it is kind of like a brotherhood and they're all together, like there should be a way to kind of be like, okay, well, you know what? I'm around this person. I see not so good of a guy or girl. And instead of them saying you're a snitch, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And I know the perception is that us good cops, we're honest cops too, Shawna. So we're in 2 different categories, but there's a perception that cops are not bringing stuff forward about other cops, and that's a misnomer. People are reporting things and saying things, but after we report something that's out of our hands, it's nothing. We did I did my due diligence. I brought it to the person's attention that I should have brought it to. So now I bring it to them. They get it. Now what they do with it, I have no part. I can't control that, and that's where we said where the problem is lying. It lies sometimes, is that stuff is being brought up, mentioned, and things like that, but the people who are making decisions are not really doing an effective job at making the decisions. That's why you still have some of these officers. And it comes down to, with anything, even like with a criminal case, it comes down to the investigation piece, being good at investigating and getting the facts and laying the facts out. So when it does go to court, because everybody gets to go to court, whether it's criminal or administratively, it's some kind of administrative way. So everybody's had the ducks in a row. And if you got shabby or shoddy investigations, then there's loopholes. And these attorneys who got a lot of good money, who are very smart and intelligent, they go in and they bring up something, and bam, okay, now the person can't get fired because of something that maybe the department didn't do right, or something, things like that. So there's a lot of factors that go into play when some of these people are not just getting fired just like that. But don't think people are not reporting, because we have a duty to report. And if we don't report and it comes out, say you Shawna Citizen comes up with this video, and it shows me on camera, me there, and I never said and did anything. Well, guess what? Now I'm in trouble too. You see what I'm saying? So people are, bringing things to people's attention, and they also are talking to their partners. If you see your partner, like I see you going the wrong way, Shawna, I'm gonna tap you on your back and say, hey, Shawna, wait a minute. You shouldn't have did that. You were wrong. It starts there. And that's where I think is sometimes it's not happening in, partner to partner. Hey, partner, I don't think you should have, did that, or things like that. So what happens when you're not doing it there? Okay, you don't say anything, and then now they do something again, and you don't say anything, then again. So now they have a pattern of doing things, and they feel that they'll be able to get away with it because my partner hasn't even said anything to me about it or something. So
I know, I was just stating it almost like it's a security for officers that may not feel comfortable and may feel like they don't have a voice to be like, guy's shady, she's shady. Like I don't want any part of this. So it's
Yeah.
an anonymous thing. So then they don't, like I said.
Yeah, and it's a hard place to be in because you're right. With any job, any kind of job like this, any job, when you work with people for a long time, there's a brethren. No, I'm not gonna sit and say it's not. That's the whole law enforcement, fire departments, a lot of different jobs like the military, stuff. There's a brethren, that a sense of brotherhood or sisterhood that you get by being in this kind of job. And sometimes it is hard for individuals to, report something. So it's really an individual thing. They have to have the courage and to say something. And that's hard. And it's hard for me or you to sit and tell somebody, you need to tell. It's like you have kids. Sometimes your kids might do stuff and it's hard. It might be hard for one of them to tell on their brother or sister because, that kind of thing. But maybe eventually they do tell, but it takes a while for them to get that courage or that level that, okay, I'm gonna say something, You're muted, Tonya.
But I love it. Shawna, the voice of the voiceless. Always looking for a way for us to express our stuff, whether it's adults or kids, and you definitely got to appreciate that. So we love having you here. I think we could probably continue this conversation forever, for a long time, but the insight is much appreciated, giving us a lot to think about, in particularly for the youth, and understanding that we're making adult issues kid problems, which is definitely not healthy. It's not healthy for them. Real quick, Sarita, what kind of advice do you give for parents that might be struggling with their kids in this time of COVID and racial unrest? Because I think many of them could use some, mental health, mental wellness advice moving forward with dealing with young people.
I think we all, and I'm saying this from a space of not having children, but working with children for many years, and teenagers is kind of like my population that I love. Understanding that they are already seeing it and they're already experiencing it. And so it's almost as similar to like sex or talking about, like, those conversations are already being had. So I'd much rather that a parent or someone with wisdom around hi Jada, around the subject can support them in starting to deconstruct their beliefs and thoughts. So really having those conversations, and you don't have to give your kids all the nitty-gritty details, but it's more about active listening and asking questions. So pulling out what are the things that they actually know so that you can refine what their language or experience is. So I think if parents are able to show up, not looking to protect or give all the answers, but to listen and guide, I think that there could be some beautiful benefits, because you'd be surprised what your kids know and how much they're really informed about things, because they're a lot more tapped in and connected to various different outlets. If you're a person over 35, there's only a few places that we get our news and our information from. They have so many different places that they're getting information from these days. So I think it's also helpful to understand that through evolution, their brains are consuming a lot more than we ever did at their age. And so being able to recognize that and speak to that as well, and not be afraid of what they know.
Got it. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you, Ms. Shawna, for being here and sharing all these nuggets about your dad and your upbringing and what's going on in Redondo and Douglas Elliman. We appreciate having you, and we look forward to seeing the rest of y'all in the next 2 weeks. Have a good day.
All right, y'all. Have a good week. See ya.
Bye.